Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the dark side. This is part 3 of the Embers Rekindled mod, Minecraft's very own Dwarven magic tech mod. Today we're going to be looking at melting, mixing, and stamping metals. Let's get into it. So the process in itself is not very complicated. The first thing you're going to want to craft is a melter. You can get away with just using one, but using at least two is advisable to make it a lot simpler for yourself. For each of these, you're going to need a furnace, two iron ingots, a copper ingot, four caminite bricks, and a caminite plate. Then you're going to craft yourself a mixer centrifuge, which is a mechanical core, two iron ingots, copper ingot, and five iron plates. You're also going to need a stamping base, which is a bucket, two iron ingots, and two caminite bricks, as well as the stamper, which is a block of iron, copper ingot, and six caminite bricks. All of these are used in unison to craft one of the most important resources you're going to need in this mod pack, Dawnstone. Dawnstone is crafted using copper and gold, combined in melted in the melters, combined in the mixer centrifuge, and then stamped into the ingots. So let's have a look at how that works. Through the Ember generation that we covered in the previous video, you're going to have a setup similar to this, but it can be further apart or closer together as long as the pipes can connect to the individual machine. You're going to want to power these machines in any which way you seem necessary, with as many interlocking copper cells as you need to combine them all. So the melters accept Ember from the bottom block, melts the items in the top block, and extrudes the fluids from the top. The mixer centrifuge accepts Ember from the top block and mixes the fluids in the bottom block and sends the fluids from the bottom block that is its input slot into the top block, which becomes its output slot for the fluids. The stamper base is where the fluids are going to be pumped into, accepting fluids into it, and does not require any Ember to function. The stamper base, however, requires Ember, which can be pumped into it from any of the sides except the bottom, and it's important to leave a space open. So let's make some Dawnstone. So as I mentioned, you can get away with melting one of these metals at a time, but it's just a lot easier to melt both at the same time. So let's put gold in the one, copper in the other. As you'll see, the machine will start using the ember that it has stored inside it and siphoning more ember from the cells that we have placed here. Once it starts melting, you can add your dial at the bottom to see how much ember the machine has, as well as the fluid dial at the top to see how much it has already melted. As you can see, there's 288 millibuckets, which is 2 ingots that have melted. On both sides, there has been melting taking place. So all we're going to do is we're going to activate this side, and coming down here, we can see that it is using up the gold and copper to create Dawnstone at the top. The Dawnstone can then be pumped out of the top here. We'll get to how to actually stamp it once we get to the further parts of these. So once you reach this point, you're going to need stamping bases. The first one is going to be the bar stamp, which gives you the ingot. Now, this recipe will give you the raw version, which you can just pop in a furnace to get the actual stamp. So the bar stamp is crafted with 4 caminite blends in this formation. The plate stamp, which gives you the plate version of it, is crafted in this formation. And the gear stamp, which gives you the gear, is crafted with 5 in this formation. An additional part which is not necessary but heavily advisable is crafting a bin, which is an iron plate and 6 iron ingots. This can be placed at the bottom of the stamper base, and it will extrude the items instead of just pumping it all over the place. Now, how this works is once you have the fluid of the metal you want in here, you place the stamper, the stamp onto the stamper, and it will start producing the recipe that it makes. Now, some recipes would require you to have a plate of the Dawnstone or other metal, as this will work for any other metals that you can just melt in the melter and pump into this directly instead of going through the mixer centrifuge. If you put the bar stamp on, you would get the Dawnstone plate instead. But you would need a lot of Dawnstone ingots and Dawnstone plates. And as you can see, there's something in there, so it pops out. So I would suggest crafting a bunch of this early on, as soon as you have the copper and gold available. And that's everything you need to know about melting, mixing, and stamping metals in Embers Rekindled. Join us next time when we're going to go into some more fun machines that you can craft. See you there!